it's a question that doesn't have a short answer. So let me try to tackle it. There have been modification programs, and the modifications basically have not led to a significant effect. So people get their mortgage modified, and then things are fine for a few months, and then they go offside again. So, and I think a large part has to do with the way that these mortgages have been modified. There are a number of different strategies that are possible. I've mentioned before this idea proposed by one of the economists at Jefferies. Want to just reset all of these mortgages at T-bill rate plus 200 basis points or 150 basis points. Okay, and a lot of people are sitting on mortgages that are like 7-8% mortgages. They can't refi because the house is worth less than the mortgage. But if you just mandated that everybody is going to get a floating rate mortgage that's capped at the current rate that you've got. Okay, so if I've got a 6% mortgage, it's going to be floating, and as soon as we hit 6, that's the maximum it'll actually go. That would have a huge effect for a lot of people that they're angry that they're paying 7-8% mortgage when they could cut their payment in half if they could refi. But they can't refi because of the value of the house, or they have to put in more equity. So I think a program like that would be way more effective than the strategy that we've taken where you go kind of loan by loan. You've got to go in front of a judge. So there's a huge cost on the system, and it doesn't work. So what I'm talking about is a blanket that, and it's not a cheap thing to do. And I'm not specifically advocating it. I've heard it advocated, but it would be basically something that would be instant for everybody who's got a mortgage. So there are things that you could do that are different. I'm not, as I said, in particular advocating this. And even if you got a refi at 4.5%, you have to deal with the problem that your house is worth way less than the mortgage. And there's going to be people that are going to strategically, eventually, walk away from that mortgage. Okay, and it doesn't matter if they're paying 7% or 4.5%. Okay, so again, I think let's just basically get this over with. So the people that are not paying, and I know it's tough socially to do this, but and I know that there's some cases where people were essentially tricked by the mortgage company, but there's other cases where people refied their mortgage, did a mortgage equity withdrawal, and spent that money, thinking that the house was a safe investment. It's going to go up at 10% forever. Okay, that was a mistake. And does it make sense that we bail out all of these mistakes? Now, the tough thing is that the American consumer says, well, why shouldn't you bail us out? Because you bailed out all the banks. So why are we different? And in terms of the cost of the bailout, it would probably be cheaper to bail us out. So that's why it's a real tough sell. Given we've got a history of bailing out the financial institutions, the large financial institutions, it's kind of natural that the homeowner is saying, well, what about me? So why don't you reset the value of the mortgage at the value of the house? Why don't you bail me out? Look, I think that it's a mistake to think that two economic wrongs make a right. So just because Citibank got bailed out, therefore you should reset the value of the mortgage to the value of the house for a large number of Americans. And the number of mortgages that are in a situation like this, estimated around 40%. It's huge. So this is, I think, at this point, we don't have the money to throw at this. So we can think of these different schemes to restructure mortgages, to do it with the one-step refi, but I really think that this is not the time to engage in extra spending, and that's exactly what this would be. It would be like a fiscal policy. It would be like a second stimulus. I don't think that that would be too popular at this point. And I don't think that it's the right economic policy in addition.